10 minutes.
Yeah.
That was painful.
All right, you're on.
Okay. All of the plants will be in the greenhouse as of Friday for the places that I've heard from. We picked up 4 new businesses. But there's still about 10 that I have not heard from, or I've talked to them, but they haven't paid us yet.
But they were affirmative to do it.
I have not, yes, but I have not ordered them plants if they have not sent us money. I have not talked to anyone except for Engel and Volker is moving buildings.
Right.
So other than them, I haven't had anyone
You
say.
wanna run your idea that you just threw by me for next year?
I would like to have a cutoff. Because currently people are still saying, yes, I want
Yeah.
pansies, and that will happen into May. If I knew the 1st of March who I had to plant, I could be transplanting things into bigger containers, letting them grow, and they'd be ready to go out. They would look like they were nice and full. Right now, they're still coming in 6-packs, and there's nothing I can do
Great.
to make that better.
That's a great idea. Give
It
them a
just-
deadline.
Yes,
Everyone
That-
works better with deadline.
They do.
Give me a deadline anytime.
okay,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I need to know, if not, you're SOL.
Well, and if they wanna just wait and do summer plants, I'm fine with that,
Right.
but trying to stick pansies in the last week of May, when I'm gonna take them out in June, is ridiculous.
It's just as long as they understand this.
Yeah, so I just need like a letter,
For that.
a line
for
in the letter that
late
says,
Spring plants or whatever you call it.
Take a picture. You could look like this or like this.
Yes.
you could look like this.
Like 6 pansies or a full.
Oh, yeah, because I was talking to Jim Jard, he called to ask me some questions, and his stuff has been growing in the greenhouse for a month and a half. I can't even pretend to do that if I don't know who I'm planting for.
So listen, I've got I don't wanna refer to it as a complaint, it's personal, over where you go into the town garage. You have 3 pots,
Yes,
I think 3 pots looks absolutely stupid.
well, you could have told me that yesterday, the guys just spent 4 hours leveling it out and making it pretty there.
Well, maybe it looks better level. Okay,
Go and look at it,
all right.
because they just worked on that
I mean,
today.
it just seems like an enormous amount of plants for one sign.
Well, it's a big honking sign, and it was a big, so they were there before the sign went in, I didn't know that there was a sign going in.
Okay,
So it was a huge empty space with,
nobody else.
Not
is
even any
chiming in,
grass.
so-
I haven't seen it.
I know, it's, I don't know the angle,
go by and look.
like, it just, well, you could have potentially after seeing what happened, maybe we could revise what we would like to do down there, as far as plans are.
Which you should have told us this morning.
That's his translation.
Driven by. I know, really.
It's his translation if it looks stupid.
Like, the guys just, this morning, actually.
I know, but it doesn't look appropriate. No.
It looks stupid.
Last year, it was just like, what are these 3 pots out here? But if it's by the sun.
That was so that Sharice could remember where she was turning. That's what that was for. Since I kept driving by her.
Oh, okay. You know, maybe you shouldn't have shared that.
Maybe it is
Hey,
outside.
It's nothing if not honest, okay?
Um,
We did today put in a new like holding garden for, so we every spring use willow branches in our plantings, willow
Yeah,
and forsythia sometimes. And then in the fall, we use red twig dogwood in with the winter stuff. And we are constantly looking for a place to either purchase it or cut it. So the stuff we bought in last spring, we rooted. And then didn't know what to do with it because there's nowhere there was nowhere to put it.
yeah,
So I made a place to put it, and we've already put some willow in there, and it looks very lovely, and it's down by the greenhouse if you'd like to swing in.
He's gonna tell you it looks stupid.
I don't care if it looks stupid. As long as they don't eat it, I'm fine with it. It's just a holding
with
spot.
our new FAA policy with driving around all the way. Are you now having to open up and close the gate every time you come and go?
Yes,
Okay. I guess I should probably apologize, but the amount of traffic that lane attracts,
oh, I know, you
Is-
don't have to tell me.
yeah.
No,
So-
I'd rather open and close it and know that there are fewer people going in there. That's what I have to do, it's fine.
Okay, and it's gonna be a headache for a little bit yet, because Matt's gonna be dealing with it with people that think it's only me and somebody else for lacrosse, or it's
Hmm.
only me, it's,
Well, the gate's locked at the other end,
yeah.
so if they drive through, they can't actually go where they wanna go,
Yeah.
so.
And
Is
I
it
just
closed?
need to,
Is the big gate closed now?
If the
Because for
big gate
winter-
is locked, it's locked right now.
yeah,
Okay, good.
I checked it the other day for Shannon, she asked me,
yeah,
so.
I suspect we're gonna be hearing from Highway too about this, but I can't help it.
No, I,
I don't know if he is or isn't, he didn't notify me, so I'm betting he'll.
You mean the way that they're going in and out as well? Cause I think,
They're going around now,
well, they are now because it's winter, they weren't,
right? But now is when we're gonna start getting the traffic.
yes.
Anyway,
yes,
thanks for
So-
being understanding.
no, it is what it is. It is nice to not have to open and close it, but it is what it is. Yep.
Good deal.
Does it matter what shade of blue the logo is?
Are you getting it put on something?
Maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay, so if we put it on shirts, it would be white because the shirts, I'm not wearing a white shirt. Nothing
Yeah.
good comes from me in a white shirt.
Right on the
So-
blue shirts that we just
so-
got, their logo's white.
Yes.
So what shade of blue is that shirt? Cause I haven't seen those. Is it navy? Is it?
Yeah,
Alright.
Oh, you're navy.
yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
navy.
navy, exactly, it's supposed to be bomber blue, but like the company didn't have bomber blue, so we didn't want to navy.
Okay, so navy is
Sure,
acceptable.
so navy, exactly.
Okay, that's great because that's a good dirt color.
If you, I know you discussed getting those, have you contacted anybody?
Shirts,
Yes.
beyond reaching out to, like originally to Bare Essentials, I have not placed the order because
Because,
I didn't wanna order them and then have somebody go.
We're watching
You
it,
should be-
it was over here, we're watching it.
because stacked graphics, I know it's tough,
They have,
they had.
is that ours? Okay, oh, our stuff is already there,
Right.
okay,
That's you.
alright, I'll call and price it, we'll see,
So just call.
okay.
Order.
Does anyone have anything they need to tell me
So, and we,
besides my thoughts look stupid?
yeah,
No, the only thing I was gonna say is
No,
that
they'll pop.
unofficially decided we need to support that with beautification.
yeah, that's,
Yes.
that's why I wanna make
Put
sure.
it out there.
Yeah.
That's what, I hope, that's what's going on the truck, so
Contact Chase.
We- I did-
Should
the
minimize.
order's already in, she's measured everything as soon as she is
With the logo.
with the logo,
Yeah.
they're gonna look just like the park districts and the highway, and they'll just say beautification underneath instead of whatever other department it is, so I think it'll be good.
Perfect.
Yep, that was my.
Yeah, I think they're trying to make it so every vehicle looks the same.
Thinking of those vehicles, that big beautification, I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not.
Go on.
It sure is a beauty.
Three out of the four are in good shape, it's just the one where and you close the door and something falls off and it's a problem.
You can live with that.
Excuse me, man, can you pick up that rust you just deposited?
Hey, they're a lot, hey, they're a lot better than what Lincoln County had when she started.
Oh, amen to that.
I sold her one of my military, boy. Yeah,
Alright, anything,
Thank
if
you.
you
Thank
speak
you.
by and look at, you really have issues, call me.
No, if they're level, it'll be a lot better.
It's
They're
warming up.
level than they were before, and if you wait and go by on Friday,
There'll be
say
something.
midday, yes, and then if you really hate them, then we'll talk.
Then I'll change stupid.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
to appropriate.
Yeah. Thanks.
See you guys later.
Yeah, there we go.
That's
it.
Haley's involved with the SE group and comprehensive open house. tonight.
Yes.
Okay. So, Deb is sorting out the change of assessment notices to be mailed out. Gotta fold them and stuff them because the county's equipment's borderline down. So
Oh, okay.
we have the capabilities now, we've got a new folder
Yep.
stuffer, so.
Yep.
So. Let's shooting for 8% residential. 4% commercial, 4% vacant land increases. Overall increase for assessment of for equalization purposes. This is excluding any new stuff.
Okay.
New houses, new motels, kind of thing. But things that already had a value. On average, over the whole town moved 7.41%. which is right where I expect to find it. Because, you know, residential dominates what we have and at 90%. And so I am not disappointed with that. I sent you guys some other pretty complicated documents. I'll explain what you might wanna know about them. If I was curious, I'd worry about some of these big numbers. Like in the negative, that is,
Yeah.
vacant land. Lost 50, almost
41.
$16 million.
Yep.
But it lost 41 parcels to
41
other,
parcels.
other categories.
Yep.
Might have been splits, so they remain vacant land and one of them gets sold or many of them get sold. But often it's just a single vacant parcel turns into a residential parcel.
So there's no way that would have been a net loss.
No, it went to another category.
Right, yeah. It was like
And
40.
gained value.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because we gained value, well, just in the residential non-condo. Yep, 280 million.
yeah, it's pretty substantial.
Yeah.
So, and you know, builds have been taking 2 years now, some of them. So a lot of these are finishes on big builds. So I looked through this for mysteries. I couldn't really find any that was really worth worrying about. And then you can see how different parts of town split out and their relative changes there.
Hmm.
And then, like last year, Emily and others found it handy to put a real number on something. You know, like the hypothetical $300,000 house, more in taxes. So I did those up for us.
Oh, good deal.
Couple down there.
Right.
Around the horn. Okay, well. So on the left, I decided to do $500,000 homes also. So if 300K in 2023, if it went about the average for residential properties, it ended up being 324. Now that's without a physical change to it, that's just equalization change.
Yep.
And there's the resulting tax bills relative to their section of town.
Okay,
So town outside Village and Lake Placid School District, Village, Lake Placid and Lake Placid School District, town outside in Saranac Lake School District, and then Village of Saranac Lake. And now you know why folks in Saranac Lake, great,
yeah. Yeah,
it's double.
Yeah.
I can't change that. I'm just following the prices that they're selling for.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
On the first two sheets you sent us,
Yeah.
where we went up in value, basically $311 million. Over the course of the last year. But you have two columns that I look at being the same on the front sheet. Is selected parcels with increase in value came to 312 million. But on your second page, the difference in assessed value is 311. There's basically $1 million difference. So, and I know it would be a very minor explanation, but I don't get why it's different.
You get a difference between equalization change
Yeah,
and then overall change.
okay. Actual value versus the equalization.
Like one of these vacant parcels that had home built on it, for example.
Okay,
So you get a reallocation of where this money, which column this money is in.
I got you.
But
Good deal. Makes sense, and it's basically $1 million difference, actually 800,000.
okay, how was that all?
Yeah,
You know, so you know, looking at these large numbers as you swim in after a while. But, like I said, I didn't find any anomalous things that are gonna have the state in a tizzy. We should be able to get our 100% equalization rate.
so it's about 85 cents a day, a $300,000 home went up. in taxes.
I didn't think of it like that.
Well,
That's a unique perspective to have.
it's around $300 a year. Yeah,
Cup of coffee a day.
right.
Anyways.
Oh, I don't know, over here.
No. I don't have the opportunity. I don't have the opportunity to use future tax rates that don't exist. So if we hold the line on spending, potentially these 2024 tax bills go down.
Right.
Yep,
This is
Yep.
uncurrent. And then, I didn't bring it down, but Deb created a report for me where,
Just one moment, you're saying potentially it could go down from the 8%?
no, that's not changing.
Okay,
What may change is the tax rate.
right, okay.
And so I was looking for a go-to statements like cumulatively. Tax rates have gone down over the last 4 years, because I knew that to be true, it's cumulative, but she broke it out into each of the individual ones. And so the town's levy caused a rate that actually went up in the last, 2 of the last 4 years, and a few others. One of the school districts, went up when others went down, but you put them into a cumulative mix. And our overall tax rates have gone down each of the last 4 years. So I think that's positive.
Which group is the one that experienced the increase where the other ones were experiencing the decrease, what classes?
Town and highway.
Highway in 1 year was a big part, last year was a big part of it. Presume there's a truck in there or something.
2 trucks.
We just blame it on time.
But they're not huge differences, not huge overages or anything like that. And like I said, overall, the rate is going down. And so kudos to keeping the levy as low as we can keep it, or
Yeah,
keep trying.
Todd, have you compared, you're comparing a lot, so have you looked at, the town outside Village, Saranac Lake, Harrietstown?
They're in for it. They haven't done a reassessment since 2004, I believe it is,
Okay.
something
So they're-
ridiculous like that, and they're gonna do one. And it's all gonna break loose, so,
Okay, so they're getting a significant.
you know, people think that. I'm overvaluing places because you've got stuff at half value across town lines over there, but within the same village. And they just don't understand that their equalization rates are raising for them instead. Problem is, it's not uniform. When you do one thing to the whole town, that's uniform, but property values don't change in a uniform manner. You know, a pre-1900 home with knob and tube is not gonna appreciate like a new construction, which is going through the roof. People want ranches and they want newish construction, modern codes. So that's why we do this.
do you wanna remark on where we're at with the 17,000 with the appraisal that,
We've
you know
said,
if it's in gear?
we have said go. I believe you guys forwarded a requisition for that, that the
Yeah.
board had approved. And I haven't heard much since.
Okay,
And the folks that wanted to have a conversation without council present. We keep giving them kept giving them opportunities for meeting times. It's over. Derek and I have discussed it, and we don't see any reason to do something like that.
so they never responded at all.
No,
No.
they send it to one of their big dogs and then it
Right.
never gets back to us.
Okay, because I know you guys don't reach out to them. What about it? What about it? So they've never responded at all.
Yeah, and it's not like we're trying to have it happen, but
Right,
they wanted an informational session, and I'll take information if you've got it.
do you wanna relay the information you have as to what we surmise may be happening in Johnsburg?
I will.
It's
We've
only,
got one listener.
yeah,
Scuttlebutt. Cause these folks have stuff down near North Creek and stuff like that.
okay.
And they've got stuff all over the state, as a matter of fact. And word has it that they're threatening closure.
Hmm.
And abandonment of services, sort of thing, which you can't just do it because our state's involved with that. The Attorney General's office, I guess I should say. But point being, don't be surprised if you hear offhand comment that, oh, maybe we'll pull out of 185 Old Mill, and they do just have a lease, but presumably that lease locks them into some payments, but you can't extract much from a bankrupt company. You know, frankly, this loan, I think they're looking for something just to create liquidity within their organization. Nothing says that had to even be spent in this town, so I don't really want to be on the hook for something like that.
And Rick, I think with this potential theory, I think it gives us credibility in maybe a roundtable session of not being afraid to maybe ask Aaron or Matt Scollins if they can share any, you know, information on the lease.
Was that grant process? I know we met once, but it didn't really go anywhere.
The
Well,
e-base grant,
After you shared
Yeah,
the information.
we wouldn't let it go anywhere until, because potential court date is August now.
you can slate others.
Yeah,
But another thing, the e-base grants. The premise is you don't go against the facility, you go against the land under it. Well, guess what? The hospital owns the land under it, so I can't believe they got as far as they did in the application process. Just too fishy.
Yeah.
If there's someone as simple as me.
so you see why I have some concern.
Oh, yeah. With all the assisted living nursing homes around the state that have closed, but some are very, very profitable. It seems like they could do something.
I mean, they're opening new ones.
They're opening new,
People are still getting older.
It's the locations. They need a affluent community in order to get some private payers.
The
Oh, yeah.
population
Oh, yeah, yeah,
largely
oh, yeah.
Medicaid, so.
But it's interesting, and again, this is sort of anecdotal, but I've been working quite a bit lately. They're still not accepting rehab patients, and that's their money.
that's it.
Why not? No help once they get there?
The rumor is the state has closed them to those type of admissions until they get their staffing. So, but that's gotta be hitting them bottom line.
Wouldn't rehab need the least amount of staffing?
Specialized and expensive.
But it has criteria.
That's why that's why Hopewell and everybody else wants to have legislation to mandate certain levels of staffing.
Medicare?
No, certain levels of staffing.
Oh,
You know, you have one RN in the building
Yeah,
with a walkie-talkie.
that's it.
So anyhow,
well, it'll be coming to fruition in August.
hopefully there'll be they valued it. I mean, they put a lot into it
Yeah,
as far as construction goes, so hopefully if something happens, the sale of it will be rather quick or the
But-
turnover.
With one thing you said, Rick, we're not in an affluent area, but if you have a good facility.
Yeah.
They will come.
They will.
And I would argue
Because,
that
I
we
mean-
are in an affluent area, it's just that their draw is Medicaid and
That's it.
and because of the service they're providing.
That's right, because the one in Saratoga, my dad's in, his is private pay, all of them are private pay. But then he says, they get new residents all the time and they're from hundreds of miles away.
There's waiting lists in
Yeah.
those places.
That's it.
Well, the websites are pretty complicated for finding a place for grandma, so
Oh, yeah,
sophisticated.
Yeah.
They look far and wide. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Dial.
Making quick.
That's why I bothered me. I don't know about this 90 stuff.
Thanks, Tom.
Wow.
Build a space back. Through, you're gonna get a PowerPoint presentation if my assessment goes up.
Oh, Todd, may I have a question to remind me of dates though, so they're going out, those letters are going out by May.
You put up before May 1st, some people have.
And then grievance,
Fourth Tuesday and next.
the deadline for grievance.
I know.
Okay,
He bought a new.
after March, After May first,
Door.
you may give our office a candle,
Lack of anything else.
and
One chair, but it's a-
generally, to get an appointment with me, you come in and get your 15 minutes to explain your case and consider whether or not
Lying.
I deem a change worthy.
Just do that.
That's called an informal hearing. And I would stipulate to that, the board still has to agree to it, but generally they accept what I agree to. And then, so I've got mandatory days, every couple of evenings, weekend days, I have to sit with the role and answer these questions, so that's why they're all carved up into 15 minute sessions. And then, I address things before those meetings happen too.
Right.
Phone calls, and then frequent flyers or something, channel openings, like today, we're not even out. So, yeah.
You got your regulars.
No, they're filling out, and doing what they're hunting there.
He has business,
One of the-
Oh, yeah.
he's got some frequent flyer customers.
Oh, a bit as is it, as in, like, oh, good.
Frequent.
Yeah, you know what you mean.
Got a man the entire.
That's right.
Hey, how's it going?
Don't see, how are you?
First, I'll start by saying thanks.
Or what?
How many things do you want me to count?
Oh, you didn't make him blush.
You're out of, I know,
No,
you're out of favor for this year? We're gonna make this one short.
The outing club, the tent pads,
I don't know what you're talking.
the parking areas at lacrosse, just on and on, but anyway. The parking lot at Craigwood, that really turned out good.
Yeah, no, we had
Yeah.
a good window of opportunity to just to, the weather cooperated
Yeah,
and we had the time. I mean, it was, just to do these little things before we start sweeping. Luckily, we squeezed it in,
yeah.
cause once we start, I'm not stopping very
I'm
much.
embarrassed to say I counted wrong,
Yeah, that's
as
all
you
right.
well know.
That's okay.
Yeah,
He's
We're
getting.
human.
So did you already speak with him about that?
No.
Bring it up.
no,
He missed 3 tent pads.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Wow.
Somebody's got.
No good
a
deed
big
goes.
yeah. But anyway, looks good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll do whatever we gotta do. So if you need more,
Yeah,
tomorrow's the day.
well, there's
Tomorrow's
three,
the day.
there's three.
That's an easy one.
yeah,
Yeah, so as you all know, I think everybody's seen our sweeping schedule, got that posted, of course, my phone's been ringing. When you sweep,
when are
it's
you
like,
coming, yeah,
look at today, I mean, you a few more degrees colder, a little more humidity, we don't need plowing, you really gotta be patient until you get into the first. It's always been the first week of May till you. get
Well, the
started.
problem is the village is doing it. So why aren't you doing it?
Not too bad.
Well, that's what I mean, but that's what they're looking at.
Yes,
And it's-
and we're doing it once, not 3 times.
That's
They'll
the
go
thing.
round and round.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, I guess if they see the village door, then there's always vague, understandably so, because ironic weather changes on a dime. But if they see the village door, they're like, I'm gonna miss it,
Miles
but I
over
can do it.
45. so,
Yeah, that's the
you know,
thing.
here's where you're lucky, unlike the village does their first thing going through. Then everybody wakes up and shovels everything they got back out into the street.
Yes, this gives people time, hopefully, that they've got the notice a couple weeks, get it out down the road, so we don't have to come back.
Yeah,
How long you been at this?
Huh?
How long you been at this?
You take an extra loop by my house, I have all of his sand.
Yeah, really. Oh, you got
Yeah,
those.
that's made my own.
So I tried. Yeah, I did
I
something.
go back there, my trees behind, so I thought of it.
Not that you don't care, town boat, SS Minnow is officially ready to go. I serviced that just this past week. John Riley had asked to get it in the water as soon as possible. I got it in yesterday.
fire right up, no
Oh,
problem.
yeah, I warmed it up pretty good.
Yeah,
Took it to a little rip and pulled out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's ready to go there. Whoever needs to use it, it's ready to go. I filled it up today. It's good. Couple of Evan. Whitney at our transfer station is considering taking another position out of town. He might be moving to Malone. Nothing etched in stone right now. It's just talk. But going back to last summer, early fall, we had discussed about maybe giving Evan the opportunity of getting a CDL license, which that's off the table because I can't have a guy
Yeah, we
in
can.
Malone to come back.
Yeah.
That's not gonna happen.
It's kind of like you have a police officer, train them,
Right.
and all of a sudden we're moving on to the next thing.
They go through like the rest of employees at the transfer station that, that may want an opportunity, which, Larry Brockway does not. Probably he has enough on his plate, JJ Ledwith does not. Nick Osgood a couple years ago had his permit, which we were trying to give him an opportunity. That's one that I was kind of scared might bite me in the ass. Whether a union of how come you didn't get to me? Well, he had his opportunity. A permit, when you get it, is good for 2 years, and he did absolutely nothing with it. We told him to come down, we'll help you drive, and so I think his opportunity has come and gone. Emily Barney that is down there is willing, she would love to get her permit and her license and the opportunity to move at the transfer station. So she's,
What's the new procedure now? I mean, it's different than when I did mine, I know that.
yeah, I mean, now you gotta go to formal school and you gotta have, it's 30 hours of classroom time and 30 hours of behind the wheel.
Okay,
CV Tech,
CB Tech, yeah.
How would we facilitate that as a municipality, would they pay for that or like?
I would say
Reimburse?
if we set a minimum time that they stay with us,
yes,
pay for it.
yeah,
Right, cause we had agreed that we were gonna pay for Evan to go to school
right.
at the time, but yeah, you can't just get your license and jump ship.
Cause I know that the village has tried many times to recoup the cost of the academy without success, so I don't know how.
But we also tried this with another employee and.
Yeah, about 3 grand.
With the building office, and remember, we were like, but eventually just
Yeah.
stopped trying because it was like, it was gonna have to go to legal counsel.
Yeah.
So we should make sure that we get it to legal counsel before we get to the point where it's like, how do we structure this?
You mean the reimbursement?
Yeah, well, no, or just a guarantee,
Right.
like some sort of contract that says, I agree to stay with the town of North Elba for X number of years after receiving my license. Or I will repay the
Yeah.
town of North Elba.
Right, right.
Good luck getting that.
Yeah, that's what I just.
Yeah, and so that, but remember that we tried to do this before and basically,
They said save your oxygen.
yes,
But
Yeah.
why is it so hard? Because in many other professions, it works.
I don't know why it's.
I mean, in mine, that's what they do.
Conversation with Mark Shackner, it was more like we were getting shot down in other areas and it was just like, Jesus, like, fine, just go ahead.
And plus, it's only for a nominal amount of money in the grand scheme of the whole budget, what's the point of putting the energy behind that?
I mean,
But that's
I'm
it.
not saying it's not worth the conversation with Mark Shackner, especially because I think this is more important to keep someone.
Yeah.
Even
I'm
if
still
it
happy
doesn't,
in the
even if
conversation.
it doesn't work out, like at the hospital, we have that. I know, to me personally, it's happened twice,
That they break
and
it,
you can't even,
yeah.
you
It's not
can't,
defensible.
you can't withhold their
You know,
payment.
there's no legal-
Well, what happened with about 6 years ago with Kinney's, the guy, he graduated, decided didn't want to go to work for Kinney's, he paid it back,
Yeah, there's people that will.
he paid it back.
So it's nothing more, it's put in front of them as a recognizing factor.
But as far as the candidate, she's a good worker.
I think she'll be fine, and it's more, I mean, not like a urgent situation, but there is I think we're gonna lose one person at the end of the year just to retirement alone, so just trying to be proactive and take the steps of at least get her into the school and get acclimated to driving. Prior to winter coming, she could be a floater, remain at the transfer station for the time being. But if a position does become available, then we could easily transfer her up to the highway at a full time.
Would it be expectation that she completed these courses on her own time, or would we pay for that?
I think they're during the week.
Yes, and
Thursdays.
CB Tech is very flexible as far as it's not like when you sign up for a college class, you have to be here at this time.
Right.
You can say what days you're available. Whether you pay her to go or not pay her to go, that's to be, I mean, I think she could go on during one of her normal shifts
Right.
at this time of year, she could.
Now, you
It's really
said
slow.
Thursday was possibility,
Yeah.
but then you're looking at time and a half.
Right. So with CV Tech, now you said there's a 30 classroom, 30 driving. Is the 30 driving through them?
Yes,
It is, okay.
they'll have you ready to, you still gotta take your road test out of the end.
Right,
They should prepare you for that.
yeah,
Sorry to get off topic, but I forgot one thing. You had one employee that asked us to research incentive for
That
early
came up today.
retirement.
Oh, you're gonna see Derek.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the answer is New York State retirement system does not offer incentive.
Right.
For early
more-
retirement,
the
and
state
that's our
program.
system. Done, that's all I can say.
Right.
We researched it and.
You will pack their belongings for them if it's like that, if that's an incentive.
No,
I mean, it all depends on how.
but I
well
just say
it
good
goes,
help,
what kind of
just helps
box.
hard to find in general, so
Yeah,
I'm
that's the thing.
hoping they stick around this long.
Yeah.
Let me leave first. Then you guys can figure it out here, Jason.
He suggested that you guys are old too.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
So,
Emily,
It's lotion.
how do you gonna,
Oh, gosh, yeah, I don't know what happened.
tried to get your attention.
Sorry.
That's okay.
sabotaged by the anonymous person.
And he was getting, so he left it off.
It might be still going, it might have just like on wrong. Put us on. Is this still going?
Oh, yeah, sorry, you guys.
I might just lean on it.
Yeah, Joe Zalewski, wrote me back. I thanked him and Joe Martens for what they did for the state, you know, Joe Martens started this by calling Basil Sagos.
Oh, that's with the
That-
lodge road, yeah.
That's how
Okay.
it started. Then Basil went to Joe Zalewski, who sits on the order board and is commissioner of Region 5. That's what started all of this, and between the three of them, they put good words in for us with Katie Petronas and the second floor down there, so, and the notice I got isn't 1.25, it's 1.5.
Yeah, so what does that translate into?
I read
Combined with
1.25. Something, but
Yeah, that was in the enterprise, but I
Being
got
done so
from
far.
what came out of Albany.
We did.
I'll confirm it with Joe,
Is that what you're starting?
but Joe is waiting for the division of
Yes.
budget to release the
And
funds and how they can be
that
withdrawn.
was gonna be my question, like how soon, do we have to fund it and then do we get reimbursed by the state?
In the lot.
Well, I will get all that information with a meeting with you in it, so there's no,
And you got one of your vendors chomping at the bit for it.
Huh?
You got one of your vendors chomping at the bit for that lodge road.
Oh, I know, maybe two,
Okay.
I don't know who you talked to, but
I talked to Craig,
oh, yeah,
yeah, he's going to put it up.
No, it should be.
yeah, no, we'll see.
No, that's why, I said, talk to Ben.
Their price came in good previously, but that's the point of getting when you go to get your estimate, they're only good for sometimes 30 days to 60 days. So you
Yeah.
can't go put it out to bids yet until
No.
when we know the funds are gonna be available.
but I know we'll keep it totally separate. Yeah. Good.
You,
I'm off.
hold on.
Quick-
Hold
I have a question.
Jason has a question.
Are
Are you, do you plan on milling it? What's the plans for that? 2 miles?
Is it just top coat or are you knowing it?
On the Lodge Road, it's actually, it's about 1.22 miles, milling it. Yes, and then some,
Are you going
like to
down?
reclaim it like full depth, like
Yeah.
12 inches.
Okay,
The previous bids were to inject calcium. Reclaim it, add stone, roll it. 2.5 inches wider, 1.5 at top.
Okay.
Fix the ditches, the drainage obviously is the most important thing out there. That's why the road is in the condition it is, it's so wet out there. Just get the water racing road where it can dry out. And it's,
cause I'm feeling, this would be, in theory, combined with last year. Would it span the entire length of the Lodge Road or, cause I know you did some
2
spots.
miles is what this
it'll
covers.
go from like the little ticket booth at the end. Back this
Okay.
way, there's gonna be one little section of Lodge Road. That is not gonna be done yet, which
Is
is,
that towards the top of the hill?
that's right by.
Second, the lower end.
Seal.
So you're down.
He's gonna be patient, that's all I know, in his section.
Do you know that for a fact?
But yeah, I do. I'm gonna say yes,
Give me 10 gallons, I'll roll it.
unless you guys cough up more money, yeah, that's what he's gonna get.
Yeah.
I mean, we will have a little. Now that we budgeted for that, we were gonna do it one way or the other, whether the state passed their budget or not. I had that last portion included in my budget for this year's paving, so that will loosen up. Money to go,
Somewhere.
so if we wanna pay more roads or.
But does that need to be
I got
done?
another idea,
Yeah,
that
should we
I'm not
finish
gonna
that?
say it.
Should we finish off Lodge Road? Should we finish that gap?
But he was saying he has some other ideas that are.
They will
So
not.
you have other paving?
Oh, there's tons of people.
Okay, I would know if you were gonna say other
So
truck.
you
You
know
know, if you wanted to truck, or you wanted, you have other paving.
Well, don't we usually wait till like almost fall before he starts running off the list of trucks?
Well, but, you know, good, I'm glad you said.
Leaving. Be a segue.
Anyway, my team, bid openings will be this coming Monday. I'm not gonna be here. I was supposed to be here. Hindsight, blah, blah, blah. My kids are military. One just had a kid. I'm trying to make it as short as possible. I was gonna go down the week after.
Okay.
His return to work date has got moved up. I'm going down a week sooner, so I'm going down either tomorrow or the next day. Bid openings is Monday. Rick volunteered to sit in on that.
I volunteered.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, don't you remember that?
I accepted the challenge.
Yeah. He's gonna sit in with Lori while they open up the bids, at least as representation. But scheduling, there's not like, normally you have that gap in between events, like a 2-week gap to do our paving like in July, which this year we don't seem to have. I'm scheduling all paving after the cross.
Okay.
So anytime after like August, what is it, Matt, August 4th, the end of it, 6th?
First weekend.
First weekend of August anyways, after that's done, I put it in all the bid documents that paving can't do it, just it's too busy around here, just to commute back and forth.
You monitor the price of asphalt, how is it?
Doesn't come out till usually the 3rd week of May.
Oh, I thought it was already out or something. Okay.
It should come down, yeah.
I don't know.
Goes with fuel, doesn't it?
I think it's gonna come out where it left off, but I think it's gonna go up.
You think it'll be more than 88 ton?
No.
It dropped 25% last year.
We'll see,
Yeah.
see. it'll
Did
be
you
a-
mention that we can recover the money that you did on Lodge Road within
Right.
that 2 miles? So that's like
That portion that we-
160,000 or something like that.
Yeah, 100, like closer to 180,000 the way we did last year at the end, their second portion, Lodge Road
Yeah,
is within that mileage.
the spot parts that we were doing.
Did you do those optimally? I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Do they? Are they worthwhile going backwards?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cause you didn't dig down.
No, but it's fairly dry up there. I mean, it's just, it's reality, it's been over 20 years since it's been paved up.
There'll probably be another. 20
Waiting for this moment here, you know, we are.
Cloud party, and the light, and
I mean, I heard it the whole time that Larry Straight was in office. He was there for 12 years, that, we're waiting for money out there. I'm on year 5.
Yeah,
You hold that long.
Here we are. We're gonna pave the launch.
yeah,
You're okay if I bring up, you don't have to stay around for it, but if I bring up the idea of a free brush day in the spring, of doing like an.
I think it's a good idea.
brush.
Oh, brush.
Right.
People clean up their yards, give them the opportunity
yeah.
to.
To dump for free
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
and make it like
Yeah,
an
commercial.
annual.
Not brush.
do you wanna?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I have a
We'll
whole
just
bunch
go-
of brush.
it'll be
I'll just
chip, but
run a
it'll
bunch
just
of
go into a pile where
Right.
guys can properly.
Or to like publicize.
Thanks,
that.
all that sand.
Good idea.
It's free.
That excludes commercials.
All those trees.
Any of that, like yard debris or tree limbs or whatever. I
They
think
couldn't
it's fine.
survive up to commercial.
Yeah, I don't know how you would phrase it though, what, no tandems, like how do you?
Something like that.
Well, I think you'll find your issue is gonna be a lot of lawn care and caretaking people taking care of other people's properties for them versus residential things, so it should be a residential homeowner.
How do you classify a
Yeah,
residential?
When they pull in for free day and it says lawn and order on the side of it.
There's not.
You're Ryan Thomas.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Not
that's
to
what
say that you'll have.
you're gonna find is, they're gonna be coming,
Yeah, I guess if you just said no commercial
'Cause they're gonna
landscaping
charge.
businesses or
they're
anything.
homeowners, but they're gonna be coming that day hot and heavy.
2 weeks prior to.
But then, what am I gonna throw,
And
on
what-
top of my Subaru?
Well,
Like, you know what I mean, like, how would.
Well, but you're not gonna hire Ryan Thomas to bring it on free trash, on free brush.
Maybe I
That's not
will.
fair
Oh,
to Ryan Thompson, because Ryan Thompson's still gonna charge you.
Well, that was the whole point, that's what puts it in bid, and usually that's.
I think they're trying and.
So I don't see that happening, in that same.
That's nice.
So, yeah, I mean, if you gotta hire somebody to on
I
that,
would come down and take that out.
how many can you do in a day?
Yeah.
There's a reality, how much can you actually fit in within this time period?
Or you said like one trip per customer,
Right,
and you just wrote and had your attendant write down names.
it's not that hard.
Ryan Thompson can come through once.
There you
So-
I wouldn't, no, I'm not gonna, so that's not gonna go personal, nope, this isn't gonna become.
Good deal.
That's right, say, we'll get rid of it, and they can't, in one day's worth unless you say, like, you're hauling in tandem loads, it's not gonna be very substantial. to get rid of a Couple scoops of the clods.
But it's a good idea.
Yep.
Good program.
Yeah, good program. Yeah.
Safe travels, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes.
You guys can see it all, big deal. I'm gonna warm it up.
Yeah.
That's right.
So when are you gonna start the landscape?
I see June.
If you wait for the 2 weeks.
Yeah, get right out there. You
Just
should talk your
gotta go.
program. Bring anything else up.
Hello. Let's see. So we'll just start with, Craigwood, looking May 3rd open. Weather depending, we've got staff, we're looking for one seasonal on grounds. And I think Jeff's still looking for one seasonal in the shop. The Jeff and Willis saga continues, but we've spoke on that, we'll address that after we actually get open for a little bit. Range is open, all equipment received. Just this last lease signer information request from John Deere, which I'll get with Kathy next week and we'll just finish that off and get that out to them. All seasonal workers are coming back and will be started by, I believe, May 3rd at the latest. Billy will be returning from Florida, so I'm not quite sure on his date that he wants. Obviously, we spoke 10 pads, Derek can't count. We have 3 left to do. We'll have the pavement taken care of out front of the shop and the other holes that Orta created. Joe Stanton will give me a quote next week. We're going to pave, pay, and then bill Orta, because that's kind of what we talked about, so. 2 new crew members down there, Trevor Stanton and Scott Wood. It's day 3 for them. Pretty happy with what's going on. They like what's the job entails so far, so we'll see how that goes. Cleanup starts next week down the Horse Show grounds. They've been doing the beach, the last couple of days. Looks a lot better than it did. It's unbelievable the amount of crap that falls down there, but that'll continue to happen. They have their sand pro back. I think they probably would have went out in the sand today if it wasn't, winter again. And then the docks, it's a question we have to have and kind of a talk with Brad probably and see where we want to go with that.
Yeah,
Does anybody remember date and time last year by chance around when we put it in?
It was like I wanna say the 20th or 21st of June, but that was only because it was
brand new.
right,
Yeah,
so,
So-
and then the village guys took it down,
okay, so.
so we'll get with them to put it back together. They're good.
After it came out, it says
Easy, right?
it's much easier than we
Okay.
thought.
So we have Park Day coming up on Tuesday. That's with the 5th graders from the elementary school. We'll have them at 4 different parks, Hillcrest, McKinley, Beach and Newman. That's from 10:30 to noon. There'll be 12 to 15 middle high schoolers, and 1 employee along with a couple of employees from the school at each location. We'll bring tools. Keith is gonna work out some tools from the school. Bags, we're picking up trash, raking, all that fun stuff for a couple hours. It kind of gives the kids something to do, a little perspective on what it takes to maintain the parks. And it also gives us a little jump in the village, because all of them in the village except for 1. We will have 1 BOCES student doing an internship with us out at Craigwood. He has to give me a schedule, times that he's available, and how long he's gonna be with us, but
What's his
the-
BOCES program?
what's that?
What's his BOCES program?
So they get it, he's in conservation,
Okay,
so he's most likely gonna spend his time with Craigwood. He's gonna get more out of that with ornamental and earth management.
yeah, I didn't know if he was a mechanic or.
No. So he's,
4 to 5 week program, it's not long.
it's not super long, but I think he can give us like 3 or 4 hours
Yeah.
a day, during that time period. So we'll work that out with him. We do have 6 students from the community youth program that are going to be attending 7 weeks on every Friday from, Keith didn't give the exact times, but it's just a couple hours, I believe it's like
Mid-morning to like
Yeah.
lunchtime.
How old is the Bosley's kid?
17,
Could he become?
potential.
He applied,
Older?
he
Yes.
put an application.
There's I had him fill out an application just in case by the time he was done and it was something he was interested in. We're already on that path, but the internship is not a paid program, where the community youth program is a paid program, which we talked about, Kathy's aware of, and we have a couple pieces of paper I gotta get back to Kathy for them, but they start this Friday.
Good.
BOCES program is more of us trying to guide him into an interview and a job and filling out an application, and going through, BOCES is giving him the guidelines and we're giving him the experience type thing.
Is this our first time working with Bosley's?
In a long time. We used
Yeah.
to do it a long time ago. We got away from it. We,
What community is the kid from?
here, it's
Okay.
Mayberry,
Maybe.
Okay,
No,
good kid.
good.
yes.
With the student work program through Keith, it's 7 weeks, 5 will be done at Craigwood, 2 will be at the showgrounds, and we've got that all figured out.
They're signed up to be employees?
Yep.
Yeah, Keith
They all
just
came
has to get
in Friday.
Yeah, Keith just asked me, give me the working papers, which I'll talk
They need
about
their
tomorrow.
actual
Kathy
physical
needs them on
cards.
file, and
Do
then,
drug tests,
huh?
they do drug tests, I just remember last year when all the season was started and it was on third floor, there was like a crazy amount of kids.
Yeah, I
doing
don't
drug
know.
tests.
They're students, so I don't know how that works.
I don't know how that,
You might have to get permission.
They're employees.
What do you think, Kath?
Based on their age, we might need parental consent.
So technically, yes, they should be with parental consent, but if. I don't know. I wanted to talk to you guys about the drug policy, because we're having some real issues with the testing,
Okay.
so. Separate discussion.
For now.
I mean, they're doing 7 weeks, they're gonna each work approximately 12 to 14 hours a day.
So the biggest problem is with the seasonals. Is that, if they're not there every day. It makes the issue of trying to collect for collection.
Mhm.
And that's this part of the discussion. I can go into it with you all later, at a later time. This isn't really,
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Now that I got that, did have a discussion with Iron Man, made a phone call in regards to the venue service fee that we're looking for. Not overly happy about it, but seems like they're going to deal with it. They did ask about the building, and whether or not there'd be a fee for that for the emergency services hub, and I said absolutely not. That's, for emergency services, so that'll continue the way it is. Across, you have the contract, everybody can look it over, and by the time you have your next board meeting, if it's signed and ready to go, we'll get it to PLL.
I'll have it forwarded to you all tomorrow.
So back to Iron Man, so what are we charging them for?
$1,000 venue fee for the entire day, cause they do 2 events in one day,
2 catered events.
2 catered events.
Okay, so it's the catering we're charging them for.
No, they charge the medical staff has to pay
Yeah.
per head, per plate.
We're charging
For
for
lunch and
our
for-
venue for the whole day.
Yeah, but I mean, it's for the catering.
No,
No, they pay for
they
the
pay
catering.
that.
No, I mean, but it's.
Yeah,
it's
if
that
you have an
service.
event that's
Yeah, I don't-
catered and
I
a
don't have a problem with that.
whole, you're using it, you need to fill out the booklet and
Yeah, I
do
don't-
all
I
that.
don't- It's
we-
like,
we're
we
gonna-
had this conversation before the other day, but I don't have any problem with the catering service having to pay.
Working on it.
Yeah, that's
on
the
it.
next
Yeah, that's,
step.
Yeah,
took 2 months to get that.
But
phone number.
because they're paying, they're getting reimbursed or revenue from. that
So the
event.
catering service is not paying us, they're
No,
paying.
I know that,
Okay,
right.
but IRBN's actually charging for the per plate.
per plate.
Yes,
So
Yeah.
they're making revenue off this.
They're making
therefore
revenue,
You're gonna
yes.
pay us to
Yeah,
use our.
absolutely.
Cause I also talked overall about this with Greg, who just the other day,
Mhm.
I saw him, and, you know. and it's like, we have to meet in the middle, but as far as for the catering service, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Zero.
The lacrosse fields are lined for high school. They've been playing up there. We had to arrange. A flag football scenario for them because they have that now at the high school and that was a big. Rift between the elementary school, but it was too bumpy and uneven and then we tried to do the oval, but it's not wide enough. And then they put it in their track when I offered it to them. Fields 3 and 4 because the track was gonna have to host track and field. You can't have 2 events on one location. Well, turns out that was yesterday. So they had to go and line the field for flag football and the location if they would have just waited. So that's all taken care of. Tri-Lakes Lacrosse is gonna get their fields lined by Jim Gerard. I just have to give them the dimensions to Jim because they can't seem to do.
Do you have a contract with Tri-Lakes Lacrosse?
We don't have anything.
Yeah, we just signed a,
Oh,
it's
Tri-Lakes Lacrosse one?
yeah, it's like a
Yeah,
permit.
it's a
You
permit.
Yeah, I don't care about parking,
Yeah,
it was
no.
more about insurance.
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, no, they have,
no,
yeah,
we're-
they have an insurance,
carried on
but
their
you gotta
insurance.
list
We
it
don't
as
have
additional,
contracts.
sure. Yeah, they
Right
provided all this.
yesterday, there was like 500 people in.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
cars.
Yeah, no, they already, Derek was here and then he sent us,
Mhm.
it's kind of like I don't know what it was called at the top, but, and then. He sent the insurance, so they're all set.
So I'll contact Jim for that and they'll use it for their normal tournament that they have. Rugby has their contract. It has not signed or returned.
I remember he said he signed it, but he has questions, he took a picture of it.
No, that wasn't, okay, well, Cameron has signed it.
Yeah, he's been gone, so he took like an actual picture of just the signed page,
Oh, that's right,
but he had.
but we don't, yeah, we,
You guys need to rehearse your
right,
presentation.
no, it is signed, it's not in.
Been a day
Yeah.
for us. He also had questions, but we're not gonna deal with this year because it's already signed, so if he has questions, we'll
Yeah.
do that next year.
That's right, it wasn't received correctly.
Yeah.
Or show, there's just a big question mark on that one, and we'll leave that be.
Table.
Village cleanup, Bob gloves for Emily for that. That's happening. What date? I didn't know.
Is it a Saturday?
Whatever the
I'll just say
Saturday.
The one's
question
eight,
mark.
one's
Fourth is
Tuesday.
Saturday.
Okay, so it's May 4th
May the 4th be with you.
and then rain is May 11th.
Okay.
And gloves will be ready Friday.
Yep, so
And I
be in the
let
office.
Carmen know, but
Okay.
sometime on Friday they would be with Lori. So she'll probably wait till early next.
And Shannon has 2 people working to do outside of the village to pick up bags. That
Ah.
Saturday.
Yes, and while we're quickly on the topic of village cleanup, Shannon also thinks that it should be, the name should be changed. And I said, Shannon, I didn't say this, but in my mind, I was like, I called you about something else. And then I'm not a highway yet, and I was like, shit, am I? And, but I don't think I am a highway liaison, so you should really talk to Rick and Dick maybe about.
Okay,
You remember how I named 3?
It's 3.
and everything?
Yeah, you got the third one.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice try,
Anyways,
nice
but
try.
we are gonna rebrand village cleanup to community cleanup starting next year.
Okay, good.
For,
Somewhat irrelevant, but
Exactly.
we have people that don't like the fact that the town is absorbing the cost of the garbage.
I think that's crazy. As a village and town taxpayer, I do not care that the town absorbs the cost of, the
I
trash that's
agree.
dumped in the
I
village.
agree.
Shannon has a problem with it.
I didn't name.
Okay, I was gonna say something, but I'm not saying it, I'm not saying it, I almost
So
said
it
it.
can be,
All the things we can absorb.
Just add it to it. It's village town cleanup.
no, it's community cleanup.
Community.
There you
You
go.
know what we can do? We can start an email. Spitball it, see how long it takes for us to
Can we come up with a logo?
Yeah, really.
We just did.
In order terms?
What
So-
color?
Adirondack Sports Council is
Right,
Yes,
operationalizing this.
yes,
yes.
Is it costing us anything?
no,
2 boxes of gloves.
yeah, 2 boxes of gloves, the dump fees,
Okay.
and the village staff time and a little bit of town staff time.
Yeah,
Well, she's sending people around. Think about it.
I think she got 2 volunteers.
Well,
Because-
well, also, remember what happened last year? They weren't ID'd correctly, somebody in particular,
Yes.
in other words, the mayor.
Oh, yeah.
I was wondering.
He was in it.
Okay. So the
They used to give out, well, they still did. They
Yeah,
did.
that's what I thought.
When you start, they ask you if you wanna pass.
Right, that's what I thought.
And the individual I was with chose not to for some reason.
Okay, because, no, we won't go there either.
So,
Problem's already been.
Well, this wasn't on the
Yeah,
way,
okay.
this wasn't on the way to get a photo, was it?
no.
No, that's, no, it's a different touch.
So we are definitely, the town or the village are not paying Adirondack Sports Council
Correct.
anything to manage this.
No.
Okay,
I mean, I guess I shouldn't speak for the village, but Jackie is, I've been part of the conversation and nowhere was there talk of a contract and an admin fee or anything. They absorbed it as part of their Save the Winter.
Okay.
Cool.
Part-time sick time wasn't discussed last time.
Yeah, we blew that,
You blew it.
we blew that.
So just a reminder not to blow it this time around.
So we'll discuss that, we'll take care of that at the meeting.
Fantastic. The sign, to answer your question for the horse show, that is their responsibility, not ours,
is.
and they don't have a sign person, so
Oh,
they do not wanna use Blocker.
Forgot they lost their.
Oh,
mind.
well, I just saw
well, we
Billy
can have,
Goff.
we can have Billy do it then.
That's it.
Billy Goff's working on it now.
Can
Oh,
you
yeah.
get me? Is he?
Yeah, I saw him at,
Okay, so Larissa's a little behind. the
I
time.
don't know.
Oh, yeah,
At least.
We
I
just
saw,
talked today.
I saw Billy 2 mornings ago at Stewart's.
He's
I
on.
said- I said, what are you working on today? He goes, oh, I'm headed down there, got my granddaughters with me. He goes, I'm going down to start the horse show sign.
Perfect, then at least give me his contact information
have it
for our
about
usage as well, fantastic,
Alright.
so that's done. So the bike parking for trees and shrubs with Sharice, once Kenny's done, if says he's officially done. I'm gonna meet with Sharice and our neighbor to see what route we'd like to go with making the parking lot look more presentable.
Oh, the Craigwood ones, yeah. Oh, like shrubs or something, you mean?
Oh,
The
yeah.
parking.
Just
the
go
bike
ahead.
parking.
yeah, that's me.
Yes,
Have
We're
you seen
just
it?
trying to make up for the clear cutting of the trees.
So what's resolved on the entrance to Craigwood?
the entrance to Craig.
With, you know, for that, where you want to put flowers?
So because of the contract that's in place with the pro and the super. There's a conflict because it's on the property, so having that conversation with somebody who's a bit bitter right now.
Yeah.
Is gonna be tabled until we see where this goes,
Okay,
because unfortunately, that's gonna create another rift that doesn't need to occur right now.
right,
And then if, depending on what happens next year with that position, we've already had the discussion that divide needs to be a thing. The Pro
Yes.
shop is the pro shop, the
Right.
down below grounds is the grounds, and then anything being done on the grounds is a conversation with the superintendent and myself.
okay,
And that we don't have these rifts. It would be nice, I've had the conversation with Reese about a nice pergola down there. Put a patio down, which is stone, and throw a couple chairs on there would make it look very nice coming in there.
Will it fit?
No, the
She-
stupid gazebo one.
well, you can see.
No, not now, but she's gonna, what
She
she planned
wanted
out is
to-
gonna fit, right?
No, yeah, it will fit, we'll build it, rather than.
Yeah, what she wanted, I didn't like
Right,
anyway,
without it
and
too
she
big,
kept saying
but
that
she
the
had a
gazebo
better-
would fit and the gazebo will not fit.
She spiraled her
It-
idea into
it
this
act-
thing where we
it actually
though,
will,
right?
but
It would?
no, burn that thing to the ground.
Yeah, I know.
Are we talking about by the sign, by the entrance?
By the sign, as you're coming down by 17, that little weird cul-de-sac built up piece that has 3 little pieces of tree shrub growing out of it,
Right where the T is.
where the T is.
Mhm.
T for 17.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the first
Right
one,
there as you
when
go out
first
front.
get in.
When you first come in.
I'm gonna have her do some flowers there this year to make it look nice and clean it up and color it up, but it's the first thing you see. And it looks like trash.
Yeah.
She had an idea, it's a great idea where a pergola would go in there. With a patio and some chairs, just. If you go to a lot of courses, they have things like that.
Bear garden.
As you come in and it
Grill.
looks nice. After the gate's been done, the road's been cleaned up, the parking lot's better.
A little
You're saying
undergirl.
that, But along the
Secret
lines of
girl.
cleaning up, I'm assuming something's Billy Goff, maybe he's cleaning up the sign, I saw like the R was down.
That is because Brian Delaney throws screws into that sign wherever he wants and they're made of foam. And he destroyed them and then he tried to hide them.
But we
So we have to get a new one. And we have to have a conversation with Brian that you just can't put things where you want to.
It'll be in the country.
hasn't that conversation?
It's
Oh,
been had a lot.
Several.
We'll have some addendum.
Several different people. Yeah.
In one,
So
out the
different
other.
ways.
Oh, yeah.
But here we are.
Thank you.
So we'll have a discussion with our neighbor and anybody in the area that's concerned about the trees or shrub, but I imagine she's the.
But we're friends now, so.
Yes, yes, we are. The hangar door, the large overhead door is no good. motor shot done, can be repaired
Which
Yeah.
one's coming from?
for our storage down at the
Oh, no kidding.
overhead doors on it, they should have a purchase order, so when it comes to getting anything out of there that doesn't fit through a standard door. We're kind of screwed until that opens,
Not on your garage.
Yeah.
On your maintenance.
on the garage at the hangar, yeah. So, the great one, so they should have it, it should be here by next week, I think, so tents and all that fun stuff. We're gonna have to wait, not that anybody's looking
Any
for
on the estimate on that?
$1,800. Yeah, wasn't bad. But without it, we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, so. And then that last one was for show, contract, for the kitchens. A value for that lease per month. Cause we know it gets used during the horse show and then continues to get used. After the horse show, pretty much for the whole entire, let's call it wedding season.
Yep.
And then we also look like an RV park. So that conversation, it took me 2 months to get that phone number, but I have it now, so that conversation will be held tomorrow.
With
Richard.
Sugar insurance will be a big one.
Mhm.
Any movement toward the Ansel system? Like,
We just have to find somebody to give us a quote for installation of the Ansel system that goes over the hood.
yeah,
Biggest thing is finding somebody, I'll be
the
honest.
only one I had found that agreed to do it was the same people from up in Craigwood.
Yeah, they're,
On the tag,
yeah,
they're
I'm gonna
out
call,
of Syracuse, I think.
I'm gonna get their number tonight when I'm out there for wing night, give them a call tomorrow and see if I can schedule a time that they can come up.
And I don't care if we only need them for certification, if they would be okay with like Hides, for instance, doing the black iron work.
Hmm.
You know, they probably just want somebody certified. I mean, we aren't reinventing the wheel with an Ansel system,
You know, nozzles over
Yeah.
your burners and
yeah.
it's not complicated, we just gotta find somebody willing to actually do it. Other than that,
Because you got one deadline on that with.
well, a June 1 deadline for at least being wheels in motion.
Right.
That's the other thing is the Newman Park project is a pretty massive project, so we'll start hitting the ground running on that. After we get a little cleanup started at the horse show.
So as you're talking to sugar shakers, keep in mind that Horse Show has the right to their vendors in that June 1 to July 31 timeframe.
Mhm.
So it's not like we can charge him to use the kitchen in that
During the time
period.
they're leased, but I mean, we also gotta discuss that, the payment of lease from previous years.
Oh, no question, but just, realize that there's
Yeah.
like a gap. in-
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, his operation time is the 2 weeks in which there's need for service.
Yeah,
I don't think that there's a need for serving the 10 people. I don't think there's a need for serving the 10 people when they're cleaning up after.
right.
There's a need for service for 2 week stands.
Perfect.
After that. We need to have a
And
conversation.
I don't want you two individually having to take on controversies as Martins come back. I anticipate that happening,
Hmm.
include me,
Yeah, no,
whenever something comes up.
absolutely.
I read the contracts, of course, show, but, are we released of all liability during the time that we're leasing to them?
As long as they produce insurance
Right,
on
so,
everybody that
We have to
comes,
be
which they
additionally
did not do.
right, so Sugar Shakers cuts a finger off and they can sue us, the
And,
town.
yeah, and you can't waive liability. matter
No,
what.
no, you're going to be named,
Yeah,
yeah, making sure that all the sub vendors as well.
exactly.
Good.
Good.
Pickleball painting,
What's up?
pickleball court painting.
So they had to,
Right?
Yeah, this
So,
week,
This week is
Gordy
the,
Blanchard's coming to cut the relief cup. And I'm waiting to hear from Joe. He told me he'd be here in May.
Okay.
But he said, listen, you're gonna want it warm. You don't want me
Yeah.
getting that thing with.
4-degree temperatures,
Right.
no,
He has 18 places to do right here in the North Country.
Okay.
And he's he's moving us to the top of the list.
So does he have anything to do with the structure, the net structures or anything like that?
We're getting all
Yeah,
brand new
okay,
nets.
yeah, he's doing that.
So
That's
for the-
part of
that's
the-
He'll go in and
That's
set
the night,
everything,
that's
yeah.
what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah, cause the questions are coming in
Yeah.
pretty
Oh,
full
yeah.
force now, so.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Told them official painting and lining and that's after relief cuts, and once it's all said and done and we get the okay. It's for public use, there's no sign up sheet, so they go out there and if people are, yeah, sorry.
Did we
Yeah.
get I was out there yesterday, but did we get the benches? That was, or was that for next year's budget?
No, that should be,
they've been ordered.
they've been ordered. I suppose they've been, Sharice said they were ordered.
Not here.
Okay.
Nothing has arrived in bench form.
Okay.
So there. Last talk on that, I did
Yeah.
meet with Dave Janito for that area for cameras. We have a pretty good infrastructure there now for the back parking lot, front parking lot and fields. He's gonna talk to Kimball himself to see about extending electricity down to the end, almost end of our fence line now.
Okay.
Putting in a pole so that there's power available there because we're gonna have to look at cameras.
Yeah.
For the community area, if it's a dusk till dawn opening type situation.
Yeah.
You're gonna want some coverage out there along with that fence line to the wood line. Not all the way down,
Not all the
just
way.
take a hard 90-degree left, give us a gate and block off, the facilities that we have there now, because it is open to the public.
But we need to budget for 2 more courts for next year.
They happen to be right next door.
They just, they already got the material down, they just need concrete. So I can't see a lot of volleyball happening.
We'll monitor that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the cameras are still. Yeah, that's it. Any questions?
When do you want, I'll let you guys take care of it, just because I got something else here. When do you want the portage on there?
So I think once we establish pickleball's open, then getting.
Oh, I mean, you guys can take care of it, but I'm just,
Yeah,
I just thought about the other day, I'm moving some, so I said.
Unfortunately, there's no restroom down there, and if we're gonna offer community area, we have to at least. put
There's still
one.
2 up there. Are they for?
Those are,
Firelight?
those are there until school's out, and then school's gonna work it out with Tri-Lakes, they'll probably end up leaving those 2 for the fields themselves during their season.
Yeah,
I didn't notice. Are they Boyers?
don't know.
'Cause
That's
they-
where
I'll talk to Jen, see
They
if we
they
can,
look different.
Oh, they do.
alright.
I told them.
I'll find out.
There's so many trees there though, why do we need a point?
Yeah.
Have we lost the art?
Well, what's your pronoun?
10 years.
All 10 years.
How you handle the paper.
So yeah, and then the good news on the pump track, which would be probably located, depending on the decision being made, down there.
I meant to forward
Oh,
that
yeah.
to that secret and I totally forgot.
Yeah, don't we have a plan?
Yeah,
So I had this dream that Emily is in it, but then that dream that Emily was in, she was talking about another plan. I was like, oh my goodness.
I mean, it's like a rough idea of where, like, for the application, we had to give it a location, but I think it's probably the right location, but, we'll see what SC's feedback is on exact
I
location.
think it's, when you look at what we have for property and what we use each property for the time being, it's the right place.
It is.
For
It's got
the,
plenty of room.
for the time.
It's right there with everything else, plenty of parking.
I can't wait for the video with Dick. Been in the seat.
Emily will be there.
Circle collar on.
So,
Prophylactically.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
next step, bathroom down there.
Yep.
It was more money than the pump track.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. But then the pump track didn't exist, we wouldn't be paying a monthly bill for a portable place to go to the bathroom.
Right.
Can we just backhoe a hole and put a seat?
Yeah,
5-gallon bucket with a lid. Wall
Or
around.
just where, where we did, put where the bathroom would go, we measured all out. Don't clear it.
Yeah.
Put a path into the woods and, put an outhouse in.
people forget just over 100 years ago, that's what we were doing. I'm like, that's all.
We've been
Look
debating.
at how far we go.
I know, right?
Not a problem.
I know, right? Jeez, I mean.
Finally, Kathy, you're up.
Hi, how are you all tonight?
Good.
So the fund, I guess we could start with the fund balance policy email.
Yeah,
As you recall, I had you do a resolution to appropriate 290,000 from the general fund for the windows.
right.
So that leaves 104,000-ish in the general fund. And that would be in excess of a 25% fund balance reserve, right? So
So if you did the math, what is the perfect number, or like, what's the maximum we should have?
I've got that here, hold on just a second. In the general fund alone, at the 25% maximum level, we should not have more than $993,648.75.
And how much do we have?
Right now, we still have in excess of that, $104,837.83.
Above that 993, okay.
That explains the park district as well. I was confused. We have 265, yet we can have 654.
Yeah,
Right, so right now,
I know, yeah.
right, so right now, the maximum for the park district should be the 25% max is 654,411.
And we're 265,000 over that.
Correct.
Okay.
So,
Sense.
yeah, so what we need to do is one of two things. Either set up a reserve for both those funds for, in the park district's case, it would have to be a repair reserve. And that repair reserve would be for buildings or equipment. Some capital asset of some sort. Or you can appropriate some of that money into this year's budget to do your repairs that you need to have done for your roofing at the showgrounds, Craigwood.
Why can't we do both?
I was gonna say.
You
We can set up,
can.
we can set up a reserve and then just spend it.
You could do one or the other, or a combination of the two.
That makes sense, and only use it when we need it.
Set up a reserve. It's almost like a HELOC.
Okay, so just so you understand, which I hope you all are aware of this, because ideally you all read the policy and you remember.
Yeah, right.
Setting up the reserve for in the park district, you can set it up with a motion at a board meeting. When you want to use that money, you have to have a public hearing.
Public hearing for each item, or public hearing for like, we're gonna use $50,000?
The second one.
Okay,
So.
Right, so
second thing.
Okay. Because there's two kinds of reserves. One is a type and one is specific. And I'm recommending that you would do a type. The type reserve would be the town of North Elba wants to set up a reserve in the park district for the purpose of repairs on capital assets, right? So that's a type reserve. You could do a specific reserve for repair, saying the town of North Elba is planning on repairing or replacing the roof at all of the buildings at the showgrounds, specifically and only for showground roof repair. That would be a specific one. You'd have to do that with a public hearing now. You get that set up, and then a year or 2 years down the road, when you're ready to do the work and you have the money in that reserve to draw it, you don't need to do a public hearing at that time, because you're using it specifically for that purpose that you set it up for.
So is there another type which could include improvements to park district? In other
No,
words,
unfortunately not. That's the snag with the park district, because, and this is that I remember I told you, Derek, a while back, that I spoke with Bob
Yeah.
Hafner at
Right.
our attorneys.
Right,
Park district, because it is a special district, the way the general municipal law is written, we can only use the repair reserve function in that. You can't have a tax stabilization, you can't have it has to be for the reserve of a capital asset, for the repair of a capital asset.
Any,
You can't use it to buy equipment, but you can
Right.
use it to repair equipment.
you cannot,
You cannot set up a reserve in the park district to buy equipment, but you can set up a reserve in the park district to repair equipment.
and how about repairing property and
Infrastructure.
That would be, I'd have to defer to the attorneys for their interpretation, because
So then what are you repairing with the repair reserve? Just machinery?
well, no,
no,
it,
or buildings,
Infrastructure, actually.
But didn't you just
Right.
ask about buildings and she said she didn't know?
capital assets.
property.
Oh,
But,
Like-
so in my mind,
Newman Park.
how I would interpret it is a repair reserve would be for repairing depreciable assets. Land is not depreciable. I guess that's the easiest way to state it.
What it's been on is.
yeah, but, yeah, so like what we're talking about is that Newman Park needs all that work. I wouldn't consider that land. That's, actual.
If it's equipment,
On the
then
land.
yes.
Right, and that's, yes,
It's
But
equipment, you have to like dig out dirt and put in wood chips.
that's land.
That wouldn't, I don't think that would count, but you want to do that work this year.
Do that.
So we
Right.
spend it.
So just appropriate some of the fund balance and say, we know we need $10,000 to complete this work at Newman Park, and we're going to appropriate it. Then you're not setting up a reserve, you're just appropriating the money into the budget and using it.
So if we just decide, if we say we've got these funds. And before we do anything to set up a reserve, then we just come up with a list of projects for this year, we spend it.
right,
No reserve.
Basically,
We can set up a reserve later of any funds left over.
exactly.
That's the way I'm looking at it.
And I think we'll probably find ways to spend it.
Yeah, exactly.
so
Bush wrote an email about where they're doing it.
Oh,
So the other part of the discussion that I had with Bob Hafner was the board probably should think about changing their fund balance policy. Because he said it didn't really make sense to him to include special districts in that. So he's going against, in my mind, he's giving me a separate and different direction than the state comptroller's office gives us, saying that there should be a fund balance policy in place for all of your funds.
yeah, because we went through this, 2 years ago, and that's not the direction we had.
Exactly, yeah. So it's kind of like what's gonna serve your purpose best.
For now, I say identify what we need it for and spend it.
Spend it, and then,
And do it as quickly as possible so that it's not hanging out there when we start budget process, because I need to know, I need to have a list so I can earmark it in my system so that I can keep track of it
well, a lot of it will be spent in the summer
in the
season.
summertime, right? Yeah.
Got it.
So, and then, so my position would be, let's just suppose you do spend, I don't know, or you earmark appropriate, let's just use the word appropriate, because then it becomes a line in the budget for this year. You appropriate 15,000 for Newman Park, and you appropriate 40,000 or 50,000 for the roof work that needs to be done out at the showgrounds. And that gets put into our budget. If you don't spend all of it this year, then the board can pass a resolution to put the difference of that money into either an encumbrance to carry over to next year in the budget, or set up a reserve at that point.
Right.
Yeah,
We
that's
do it
what,
at budget time.
yeah, let's get through the summer and spend them.
It's growing pains. It's the first time we've had to really play with this whole process of having an actual reserve policy, so.
That's actually how I plan to pay for the tent pad material that's going down.
Right.
With fund balance.
And then, so going back to the general fund, there's that 100,000, what, I forget the number I gave you all.
104.
104,000. With that, you can basically set up any kind of reserve, because it's general fund, it's town-wide. It's not meant to be, specific for a purpose, like with the park district, when you have extra money, that money was raised for the purpose of the park district.
Right.
That specific area of the town.
Yeah.
General fund, that money is raised and meant to be used for the operation, the general operation of the entire town as a whole. You can set up a reserve of that money for just about any purpose that you can think of within the schedule that's at the back of that fund balance, where it has that little picture that says 6C, 6D, 6E all the way across. The only one you can't use is fire district capital. Doesn't apply to the town. But you can put in a regular capital reserve, you can do a repair reserve, you can do the tax stabilization. You could do workers' compensation, which wouldn't really apply because the county pays for that for us. But there's a whole list of things that you can use that 104 to set up a reserve for.
What would you, based on your knowledge, what would you recommend us? What sort of reserve would you recommend, looking at, knowing all the projects?
For
all
the-
the flows?
I would do tax stabilization because that's pretty broad. You can use it, if we have a year where the assessments take a dive.
We grab fund balance
know,
every year.
Health insurance costs
Yeah.
escalate, 25%, whatever the case might be.
Oh, yeah, we took $1 million this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's. in-
Yeah. Yeah, this is excess money over and above what we appropriated.
Cause
Yeah.
it's gonna be a necessity, I'm assuming moving forward.
Yeah,
You aren't kidding.
Yeah,
yeah. I would go to tax stabilization.
okay, I got it.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
That's my opinion,
Yep, yep.
So that's all I've got on the fund balance policy, unless you have more questions for me. I'll be in the office tomorrow. If anybody wants to talk to me about it. The next thing I had on my list was, and this was the second email I sent, was what I have from discussions with Derek regarding the money for the Community Tourism Enhancement Fund, that $500,000 check that you all approved last board meeting that we sent to Roost. That was our first payment for this year. So far, the only thing I have that we actually will be billing Roost for reimbursement for is a portion of the master plan work that the SE group has done for the showgrounds, which is $5,300. And money that we spent specifically for preparing for the community safety during the eclipse event.
Yep.
Which was basically another $3,500-ish. So I'm accounting for all of that information, all of those items in an accrued liability account on our books. So it's in an actual balance sheet liability account instead of an expense account. Because the intent is that way I can keep track of them all. And as I bill Roost for that and they send us back the money, it'll clear that balance out of that account.
But please don't bill Roost until I've had the opportunity to go through an audit with them. Because like you and I talked, 70,000 for the total master plan, 70,000 for Adam DeSantis.
Right,
50,000 for the dam project.
right.
So we need to get a good audit sheet from Roost.
Right,
We'll go over that and then we'll put together a bill.
right. So I just wanted to let you know, then I emailed this to the whole board, so it's in your emails from me today.
Good.
And then that way, if you are aware of an item that should or should not be in this list, please let me know so that I have a way of keeping track of it all as well.
Perfect.
And then,
Hold on a second, 1 second, Kathy.
yes,
So, Derek, so didn't we take out the last payment, not this one? I mean, we're getting payments every 6 months.
No,
No, I thought
uh,
we were getting payments every 6,
starting this year, we're gonna get payments every quarter.
every quarter. But in
Yeah.
other words, I thought we previously took out, I'm looking at the spreadsheet Kathy sent. Didn't we previously take out like Adam's portion? Or not this year?
Last year was partial because when they hired him in October. So our portion for the year was 19,000 something or 20,000.
Okay, I thought we already took out this amount, so I thought that the most recent, what was the date on the most recent check we got?
528,000,
But when was it about?
less than a month ago.
but that was for through the end of December of 2023.
That finished up 7 months, May to the end of December of
Okay,
23.
okay, I got it now.
So
was the
nothing in
big one.
24 have we received.
That's right, okay. The answer's my question. I thought it was covered more of it, okay. we're
What we
good.
got was 107,000
Right,
the beginning of last year and 528.
yes, okay.
So 635 or whatever it comes to.
It's getting very confusing.
Exactly, that's
used to be
why,
great. Used to-
that's,
These quarterly payments should fix that for us anyway.
Yeah,
We're looking to have
Kathy,
a quarterly sort of report.
in that,
Yes.
in that spreadsheet that you're keeping of what you're invoicing Roost for, it would also be nice to somehow in that same document, you're keeping track of what we sent to Roost.
I can do that.
yes.
Yeah, as a revenue type line.
Yeah. I have a, yeah,
That's why I say.
Right, or right, the
Yeah, balance sheet.
balance
It's
sheet.
only two
so I
transactions.
have a separate spreadsheet, I can
And
just
and when did,
move
what
it
did,
to a new tab
did
in
we,
that
uh,
workbook.
Yeah,
what did we agree upon with Roost? How often are they going to statement us?
Monthly, wasn't it?
Monthly, was it monthly?
I thought-
I haven't seen anything from them yet.
Right, and that was,
So we made that known to Mary Jane
Yeah.
the last time,
that's what I mean. Yeah,
still haven't received.
And this is a tangent, but are we gonna get like a yearly or quarterly or biannual or annual report from Adam about his progress? In his position? I
Adam
thought
technically reports to the DMP committee, which I am the liaison for.
Sure.
So technically, that's who he reports to. He
okay,
doesn't report to us, and he doesn't
I got
report to the village, and he doesn't report to Roost. He reports to the DMP committee, but I think he would welcome attendance if we invited him to a board meeting, he'd be happy to attend.
Well, I'm just saying, since we're contributing funds
Yeah.
to his position, it would
Well, technically, it's county funds.
tell me funds. Derived primarily from occupancy tax from this area.
So really, technically, he should be reporting to the county board of supervisors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be just another nice thing.
Yes, but I actually feel like I do need to defend the fact that it is not the town of North Elba giving him giving his
Right.
position 70,000, it's the Essex County giving Bruce $70,000.
But if
But-
his
but it's
position,
not
if his
our-
position,
but it's our
But if it's-
decision to do it.
but yeah, I was gonna say that if his position didn't exist, that $70,000 would be a larger increase in what we would have access to.
Right,
So it does kind of important that we kind of know what's going on.
yeah, I mean, and we don't need it. It's like when we first started and Mike would come and we'd hear from all these people. You know, we'd have to hear from every month, but it'd be nice if we heard from quarterly. It's,
Yeah.
what's going on?
But who's mine?
I'm just saying, you know, we had this great idea and have him come and tell us everything and he told us nothing. You know,
It's just another avenue, we love to celebrate any progress
yeah,
in
but,
a town board forum. That's all.
yeah, and you're right, I mean, if we weren't paying this, if we weren't paying this, it's occupancy funds through the county. But we're saying we'll do it, but if we weren't, it would be going into the funds and we could either use that money directly or give it to Lee.
For more fencing, for pump tracks, or, more
Signs.
boards, signs, a lot of those sort of.
For you, Jason, I'm thinking Tim will be, if he hasn't talked to you already. You remember from the 125,000 that went into the IT program? And you said at some point when we get the drones up and running, we'd love to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, June 10th, I don't know if it's even possible, but the building is being set
mhm,
and to have something to show, the board of supervisors. A part of that program that went, it would be perfect.
let me know, and then I'll loop Tim in, and then he's gonna have to forward something to free me up, and then some other, we'll get that, we'll make
It
that
would be
work.
that opportunity
We'll make that
we're
work.
looking for,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
We want you there.
yeah, Rick had mentioned it to me, and I appreciate the continued updates on it. I thought it was very exciting, and I thought, well, maybe I could, bring some students down to see,
Yeah,
but that would be even better, fantastic.
Yeah.
But not that divert away from what we were originally talking about.
no. What else you got, Kat?
So
Gotcha.
moving on to the next email, going back to our ARPA listing. I can't remember, I had one note on one section and another note on something else, and it confused me. Are we using ARPA funds for the sidewalk study that Swazo's doing for us?
Yes,
Yes.
$40,000.
Okay, just want to make sure, so that stays in, okay. And
Kathy,
then,
what's the yellow versus green? Like, yellow is Adirondack
Okay.
IT and Sports Council Volunteer Appreciation.
oh, cause I was matching up, cause
You're questioning them?
they're piecemeal, right?
Okay,
So, yeah, so the
and then the green is probably pending, stacked graphics and
stacked graphics
what's
and
that sidewalk?
the Sports Council Volunteer Appreciation.
Yep.
Because that was originally $1 figure that you earmarked for Jeff Aaronstone, and then you guys told me, well, we'll take the stacked graphics out of that portion.
Oh, okay,
And now apparently there's been a little snafu with staff with the stacked graphics, so I don't know if there's gonna be another small bill coming.
what's the snafu?
I guess there were a couple shirts that didn't get ordered correctly.
Okay. Or done correctly?
I think it was just a clerical error, I'm not sure. But, and then there's also the question about what about all of our, summer help? Are they gonna get an option? Are they gonna be given a t-shirt? Are they not? A hat? Are they not? And
Oh, yeah,
and-
they're getting it.
and where, if we don't have enough,
$80 for shirts.
well, if we don't have enough already on order, because I know there were some extra ones ordered, but I'm not sure how many and what sizes. So if we needed to order more, are we paying for them out of this ARPA pot
That's what
money,
makes
or are
sense.
we doing it out of our regular
Don't be
budget?
using any appreciation.
I would say that we should just
No.
keep using the same fund of money that we've been using.
Okay,
And if you could please order whatever size Sharice wears in white.
yeah, right, yeah, that would be,
Yeah. Not even off-white.
she'll be like, what'd you get me white for? Well, this is their thank you, for our service,
We want it to be special.
see you later.
That would be fun.
No,
Or I
that's fine.
had our logo and then that original name all spelled out.
Uh,
Boy.
What else? 1, 2, 3. Derek's got Braybrook under control. Okay, so I met with Tim Baker,
Oh.
early last week or late the week before, I can't remember.
Last Tuesday, I think.
Okay, thank you for keeping track of my schedule. And we had a good conversation, the IT stuff, he said he would be there for me to use as a reference, I guess, for lack of a better term, to help to start drafting an IT policy, and like, I can draw on his expertise. But one of the big takeaways I had really was that based on our discussion, he feels like Twin State is doing exactly what we're paying them to do. So that the next step would be, do we really have an issue with paying Twin State and moving, do we want to move away from them to another firm? Like Derek, I don't know if you remember, a couple years ago, you gave me the name of a company out of Malone.
Right, Brown, CT Brown or something like
Yeah.
that.
There's
that,
also,
that was merely to get an idea of what competition would be. You know, in your estimates.
there's also this firm in Plattsburgh called, CT8 or something like, I don't know, it's another IT firm. There's several out there, but knowing what Tim told me, and now that we're aware of the issue, I feel like I'd like to stay with Twin State until we get our IT policy kind of in place, at least a good draft in place, so that we know exactly where we are before we start trying to shop around for more or better services for a lesser cost.
I agree, our incidents are down considerably.
Yeah.
May I add on to that, your statement about it, like, because I've had conversations with Tim. The emphasis within the dialogue is establishing a coherent and up-to-date IT policy.
Yeah.
He did corroborate the fact that, Twin State is doing what they're supposed to do, but having a policy, but then also, much like what he's doing at the inventory when I started when I was district tech, but had taken over, is actually doing an inventory and really identifying what pieces of machine that you have and getting onto a schedule as well.
Right.
So when you have a policy and an inventory and a schedule, then we do want to shop it around, it'll be a much cleaner transition if that was necessary.
Yeah,
If that was
Right.
that makes sense.
And so one of the things that we need to do, and I would like to say we could ask Twin State to do this for us, but it would definitely be billable hours for them. But something that can be done in-house, but would probably take a little bit more time, which I'm sure I can figure it out, is to go around to all of the computers, all of the networked printer, any endpoint networked items. So the printers, the copiers, anything that can be hacked. We need to inventory it. So I've done that in the past, not to the extent that Tim recommends, but I have a starting point. So if it's okay with the board, I would like to try to do it myself, or perhaps somebody, maybe Jason, you have somebody at the school who's a student who's in the IT track or something that might wanna maybe do an internship with the town and do it for us. I don't know how you feel about that, but.
I don't know anyone off the top of my head, and I did follow up and say. Because he and I are both on the same page and well aware of the context of like what he's going through with the school. And the town offices aren't that large.
Right.
But I did kind of press to say, is this something that you could do? And, you know, with the two other individuals as subcontractors, that would it be a reasonable, and he said he could do it, and he thought it could be done, but it would probably another discussion with you, and it wouldn't be that expensive, but I don't know if from that conversation with Tim and then hearing you, I don't know, like you can do it and it would be over a period of time, but then again, if it takes 6 months to a year in the course of your normal business, a lot of things are gonna be outdated. So it might benefit to kind of dive in and get it done.
Right, I said as much to Tim as like, I really don't want to take advantage of him. I know he has a full-time job to deal with the school. I think I could do it, and if I set a goal to have it, to do all the survey stuff done, a preliminary survey, I could do it within a couple days, because like you
Okay.
said, it's pretty consolidated, and it's only the town's equipment that I have to deal with, not the village. The village has got nothing to do with us.
Right.
So I would like to take a stab at doing it. And if I feel like it's overwhelming, then, I'd come back to the town and say, I've tried, I can't do it. We need to get somebody else to help get this done.
It makes sense, and I believe he forwarded me like a policy or template, but I will speak with him tomorrow. And then maybe re-engage the dialogue between the two of you if he has some sort of template for you as a basis.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so that's pretty much all I had for the IT side stuff right now. I'm working on the cash collection management update, the policy, so
Okay,
I'll have a draft to you guys by the end of next week.
okay,
Think that, oh, okay, so, and the other thing I wanna talk about is the drug testing, but I don't know if that's something that we should have on this venue, or if it's something we should do in person, so,
Or why don't you take it up with the policy committee?
yeah. And it's not so much the
You might be the
policy,
third person.
I know, it's not so much the policy as it is the process,
Right,
so. I don't
why don't
know.
we talk about that another time?
Okay,
Okay,
all right, so then that's all I've got.
okay.
Do you have
Okay.
questions for me? Sorry to make you yawn, Emily.
I had to wake up.
Everybody
eventually.
does that, Emily.
All right,
Thanks,
Kathy,
Kathy.
I hope today went good with bringing your hubby to doctors.
yeah, everything was fine today. Friday, he goes over, I have to take him to Vermont for his post-op. They'll check the incision, hopefully take out the, what do they call those, sutures
Yep,
and that stuff,
Yep.
so,
hope it goes good.
thank you. I'll be in tomorrow.
Good.
Okay.
All right,
I'll be up to see you.
all right, have a good night, everyone.
You too. Bye bye.
Okay, I got a couple things, but I mean,